And we're following breaking news at noon out of Asheboro. Archdale police have arrested a suspect in a shooting at a tap room that sent one person to the hospital. 26-year-old James Monahan is charged with assault with a deadly weapon with an intent to kill and attempted murder. Police say he shot a 31-year-old man Friday night at Firehouse Tap Room on Main Street. We're told the victim is now in the hospital in critical condition. Investigators say Monahan fled the scene in a gray SUV after that shooting and was arrested today. We don't know what led to the shooting at this time. A live look over the Israel skyline just after 7 o'clock in the evening there. Israel hit more Iranian government targets in Tehran today in the wake of the U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities over the weekend. As Keir Simmons reports from Iraq, U.S. forces in the Middle East are bracing for Iran's response.
Hey there, good day to you. We are, again, just a short distance away from that U.S. base here in Erbil, where they are, like so many bases across the region, on high alert. This one of the closest installations, U.S. installations to the Iranians, likely to be a target depending on what Iran decides to do. There have been drones go down in this region just in recent days. Meanwhile, across the Middle East, airlines cancelling some routes into the Gulf, and in Qatar, we're told that staff there at the base, the U.S. base there, have been told to shelter in place this morning out of an abundance of caution. Meanwhile, inside Iran, about 2 hours from here, the border, the question today is, where is that highly enriched uranium that Iran had? Is it still in the hands of the Iranians? How do they ensure it doesn't fall into the wrong hands? Meanwhile, on the question of regime change, news today that Israel targeted a notorious prison inside Iran, blew the doors off. The Iranians say no prisoners escaped, but it does indicate that Israel is still interested in trying to foment change inside the country. Keir Simmons, NBC News, Erbil, Iraq.
And the Trump administration is on high alert for what might happen next after American airstrikes on Iran's nuclear program. Our Washington bureau correspondent Amy Liu has more from the White House.
We're here at the White House, where President Donald Trump is set to meet with his national security team later on this afternoon as the U.S. braces for a possible retaliatory strike from Iran after the bombing of its nuclear sites. Now, President Trump actually ordered this to happen over the weekend. He claimed success and then also said Iran's nuclear program was completely obliterated. But now the State Department is warning Americans, including troops and really anyone across the world, to take extra caution. It's drawn mixed reaction from lawmakers here in Washington. There are some Republicans saying that the U.S. should not be getting involved in these so-called forever wars happening abroad. But then most Republicans are falling in line with President Trump, saying that this was needed in order to end Iran's nuclear program for good. Reporting at the White House, I'm Amy Liu.
And lawmakers from North Carolina on both sides of the political aisle are weighing in on the American airstrikes on Iran's nuclear program. Republican Congressman Pat Harrigan of the 10th District released a statement backing the president. He went on to say, quote, "These strikes were necessary to prevent Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon and to protect American lives in the region. They reflect a return to serious foreign policy rooted in deterrence, strength, and the strategic clarity our adversaries understand." Democratic Congresswoman Deborah Ross of the 2nd District posted to X, quote, "This unilateral action by the U.S. was unlawful and unconstitutional. Both the law and the Constitution are clear. Only Congress has the power to declare war. These strikes also risk entangling the U.S. in another costly war in the Middle East, something Donald Trump explicitly and repeatedly told the American people that he would avoid." The UN Security Council is also discussing the U.S. strikes on Iran's nuclear sites. During a recent meeting, Russia, China, and Pakistan proposed that the 15-member body adopt a resolution calling for an immediate and unconditional ceasefire in the Middle East. It was not immediately clear when it could be put to a vote. The three countries circulated the draft text, said diplomats, and asked members to share their comments by Monday evening. The text does not name the U.S. or Israel.
The United Nations stands ready to support any and all efforts toward a peaceful resolution. But peace cannot be imposed. It must be chosen.
A resolution needs at least 9 votes in favor and no vetoes by the U.S., France, Britain, Russia, or China to pass. The recent strike also means Americans could start paying more at the gas pump. U.S. oil futures jumped 3.6% to about $76 a barrel. Some experts predict oil prices could go even higher, perhaps as high as $80 a barrel. Oil hasn't traded that high since last January and has largely stayed between $60 and $75 a barrel. Prices could go up even more if Iran retaliates by targeting the Strait of Hormuz. It's a critical waterway separating the Persian Gulf from global oceans. Roughly 21 million barrels of oil are transported through the strait every day.
That is about 20% of what's consumed globally. So a blockade or military activity in the Strait of Hormuz could be extremely problematic for the price of oil.
Experts predict prices will likely rise, and that will reignite inflation across the country. Taking a look at gas prices in North Carolina right now, the current average for a gallon of regular is $2.92. That's 6 cents higher than this same time last week. Here in the Piedmont Triad, drivers are paying between $2.90 and $2.94 on average for regular gas, and those in the Greensboro metro area are paying the most, while drivers in the Winston-Salem metro are paying the least.